Well, we're live. This is nice because I can fold this nicely. Let's see here. Let's put something over this, like my finger, so you don't get my address. I didn't give him my zip code, and yet I still got a thing with my zip code on it. But anyway, that's from Honey Badger. We love Honey Badger. Honey Badger don't give a fuck. Honey Badger don't care. You a struggling mom of 3? Honey Badger don't care. You IRS, you judge, IRS don't care. You a congressperson, IRS don't care, right? Honey Badger don't care. You a Al Capone, Honey Badger don't care, right? Honey Badger, I asked Honey Badger, and it says, "Dear Sir or Madam," because they can't tell from my name whether I'm a man or a woman. All right, fine. They don't want to assume my gender, I suppose. We are responding to your request dated February 18, 2020, about the tax-exempt status of, this is the important part, judiciary courts of the state of Hawaii. Wouldn't you think that the judiciary courts of the state of Hawaii would be a government agency? They sure as fuck try to make you think they are. We have no record of this organization having tax-exempt status. What? The judiciary courts of the state of Hawaii. We have no record of this organization having tax-exempt status under Internal Revenue Code Section 501A. Therefore, we're unable to provide any documents in response to your request. You can find information about tax-exempt entities and their organizational and operational requirements in publication 557, tax-exempt status for your organization. Yeah, whoever just came and went, you're foolish, because this isn't just tiny. This is huge. Huge. You can also visit our website at www.rs.gov/charities. If you have questions, there's a number to call. There's a person to contact. I got a call between 8 and 5. Yeah, I might have a few questions. And the person to call is Ms. Benjamin. And she gave me your ID number and everything. Okie dokie. What do it mean? Well, it means that the judiciary courts of the state of Hawaii are not tax-exempt government entities. They just try to make you think they are. They're not giving you a 1099-C when they write you a traffic ticket. They're not giving you a 1099-C when you pay them fines or penalties. All right, now I have much more paperwork to do, because now that I have this, I want it buried in my briefcase. I'm not going to go over it. I'm going to go over some errata. But the form that I filed in order to get that letter was this form right here, which is, can you read it? Okay, you got to know your forms. If you watch the movie Brazil, Brazil is what it's about. This ridiculous bureaucracy that us slaves need to go through. All right, so can you see that? That's 4306A, or no, excuse me, 4506A. Oh, this letter's, that's why I used it as a piece of scrap paper, because the top of the thing was cut off. So let's make sure that you know what form it is. Write it down. 4506A. You can get it off of the government website. The IRS, oh, excuse me, they're not a government entity either. That's a battle I fought 24 years ago. That's how old I am. I just found out that I qualify for senior citizen discount at my local supermarket. That's how old I am. Anyway, 4506A is the form that you need to use. 4506A will give you a letter like this. Then you use this letter, and see, they're in my briefcase, and my briefcase is under a box, and under a couple other things because we just went shopping, and I don't feel like digging it out. But now you're going to file a complaint. Now you're going to file a 40211. Now you're going to file, right? Now you're going to inform others. Now you're going to let the FBI know, hey, wait a minute, these guys are masquerading around as a freaking government entity, right? As if they have public office and as if they have authority over me, right? Okay, so I will tell you a story. I went into court. And I'm trying. It's a really long, convoluted story. So let me just make a long story short. The mother of my children and I are fighting over homeschooling my child. All right, or my son, or actually both my sons. But anyway, the one boy literally ran away from home to my house because he couldn't stand being at the other house. And it's a long story. So rather than just take her lumps and realize that she's a crap parent that basically starts drinking at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, 5-7 days a week. She's grieving. Her mother died a couple of years ago, and she just can't handle it. All right, there's more information than you need. But she's sitting in court apparently on my side because the state of Hawaii, via the judiciary courts of the state of Hawaii, filed a petition for compulsory education against me. Actually against her, but because I didn't sign any forms. I didn't sign their birth certificate because I didn't pledge my children to the fucking bankers. I knew about this ahead of time. And you guys did, and you need to check that statement out. Is that a true statement, or is that guy just fucking crazy? All right. No. Your birth certificate pledges you. You are owned by those fucking bankers. They own your ass. All right. But you've been told that you're free, and you're the freest fucking thing ever, right? Go vote for Trump, you fucking free people. Go vote for whoever it is, the Democrats or whatever the fuck it is. No, that makes you a U.S. person, and a U.S. person is owned by the corporation called the United States, and they have pledged you to the, and see, it's not United States of America, it's just the United States. All right, so go do your fucking research, right? Don't believe me. I was watching this other video. Oh my God, it's rife with bad information. So one of the things, like, you can absolutely get a passport without a social security number, right? You don't have to put social security, but that's a whole lot of work, right? You can't just not put it in there if you have one. You got to get to the point where you don't have a social security number. There's paperwork to be done. This will put you on your merry way. Here's the other. Where is that? Bro, I was just looking at it. There it is. Ugh. So see, this one's blank. All right. Us slaves went to slave school, and they didn't teach us, right? And they get that, right? Divide and conquer. Ain't but 4 horsemen. They got 4 horsemen in that book. What does it tell you? It tells you about the 4 horsemen. This is not peace. They laugh at us. This is divide and conquer is what this is, right? So that's the first one, conquer. So divide and conquer. You're black, I'm white. Oh, excuse me, I'm white, you're black. Wait a minute, I'm black, you're white. You're an Indian, whatever the fuck it is. You're a Democrat, I'm a Republican. You're whatever the fuck it is. You're a man, I'm a woman. You're whatever it is, right? We right? And they want you to refer to yourself as a person, not as a man, not as a man with a womb, but as a person. Because if you're a person, you're under their authority and jurisdiction. Simple as that. You go register to vote, and I have the thing around here someplace where I have rescinded my voter registration because I'm not a U.S. person. I do not hold public office. And the shitty, lowly public office that I held was U.S. citizen. But I was deceived into telling them that because I'm not. Right? Everything about this. Let's take a look at this. Oh, I don't have one. Let's just go with this. HI, they own that. 96768. That is a district inside the District of Columbia. Okay, so if you're in the District of Columbia and you're a U.S. person, they have authority to tell you, right, comply or die. All right, well, you have to let them know that you're not in the District of Columbia. You're on, in my case, on Maui. You're in Los Angeles. You're in wherever the hell you are. One of the ways to do that is by putting a 3-cent stamp on a letter like this, and just look at all the stuff that's in that little corner, so that your postman can't argue with me. I had to go down, I had to go down to the post office and actually inform my postmaster because he was clueless. And so yeah, they looked it all up, and sure as shit, 3-cent stamps. Okay. And then you put your address on here without a zip code. In fact, you should probably use your natural area code. You should probably use your universal area code. Look into that. And that will tell them directly that you're not inside because they just assume that you're inside the District of Columbia. because that post office over there, that's HI 96768 that delivers mail to me, right? That's military, that's under the martial law, as opposed to post, which is civilian, which is a 3-cent stamp. All right, and I made another video about that. And if you go look at my playlist, you can find all this stuff on my playlist and so forth. And again, there's shit on my playlist that's wrong. So you're supposed to be smart enough to know what's wrong and what's not. But anyway, there it is. You can pause the video at some other point and just, right? And basically what it is you are letting them know that you're not using their military, thanks, but no, we don't need it. So it's first class, non-domestic, without prejudice, UCC 1308, no contracts, no any of that stuff, right? That just means, and you need to know what that means. Look it up. And great, because if you walk into court and ask you what it means and you can't explain it to them, you're going to be in trouble. DMM, Domestic Mail Manual, 602.1.3E2 tells you that you don't need to use a zip code. Book 12, Statutes at Large, Chapter 71, Section 23 of the 37th Congress, Section 111, without USC or DC. I am without the United States and DC. I'm not in DC. I'm without DC. Okay, so they assume that you're in DC. They presume you're in DC. Therefore, they have jurisdiction in it because the United States is that 10 square miles. That's not a joke. And you can argue all day long that that's conspiracy theory. There is a butt ton if you can fucking read, right? You want to hide law from a nigga, put that law in a book and put the book in a library. Any information. You want to hide information from a nigga, just put that information in a book and put the book in the library. Good, right? You guys will never fucking find it. Anyway, the idea is we are without the U.S. We are without D.C. It's USA, United States of America. Americans. Not sovereign citizens, civilian Americans. Okay. There's more to it than this. You need global, all kind of, look up Patrick Devine, right? Let him explain it to you. Like I said, most of this is above my pay grade. But that right there, take a screenshot of that. Yeah, there you go. And just understand that that's on IRS letterhead. Just look, can I hold it still long enough for you to take a screenshot? There you go. All right, you should be able to take a screenshot of that. This isn't good for you. You can't use this. I can use this because it's got my name on it. You have to get your own letter, right? Otherwise, it's just hearsay. Some guy on the internet said, right? Even though I have the letter, and I could send you a copy of this letter, wouldn't matter. It doesn't have your name on it. You got to get your own letter. All right. And then you got to know who to talk to. Because I was in court, and see, I interrupted myself. And I didn't want the mother of my children to get this information because she thinks it's all nonsense. Great. It's awesome. And I just asked the judge, I finally said, if you're going to proceed against me, I'm going to proceed against you. And the courtroom got a little tense, a little bit there. Right? And just understand, it's the clerk. It's not the judge. The judge is just the mouthpiece, right? The clerk is the one that's doing the shit, right? The clerk is the one that's typing. And then whoever's sitting on the other table, the prosecutor or the deputy or assistant attorney general or deputy attorney general or whatever freaking representative of the corporation they put in the room with you. And most of you aren't smart enough to ask, hey, can I see your oath of office? Hey, you got a law license? Hey. Just walk in there and let them fucking rape you in the ass. All right, fine. Not me. I prefer not to be raped in the ass when I go into court. Thank you very much. All right, so this letter right here, now you can use this. This is prima facie evidence. Evidence, right? Prima facie. My face, not yours, right? You got to get your own letter that you can use, and I'll make copies of this, and I'm going to make certified copies of this, and I'm going to attach it to various forms that are going to let them know that the judiciary of the state of Hawaii is a non-tax exempt government entity. It's not a government entity. They're not tax exempt. So they're cheating on their taxes. They're for profit. They're impersonating public officers. On and fucking on it goes, right? Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry about me. All right. Anyway, because yeah, I'm only just beginning it. Like I said, I was playing a happy game of D&D, and it turned into fucking Call of Cthulhu, right? Right down to the baby eaters and the fucking blood drinkers. Anyway, all right. So, and guess what, slaves? We have no status to even bring charges against these people. You're a slave. You're considered a slave in the international courts. You had to free yourself. And guess what? They make all kinds of fucking fees on the way, right? You got to pay for this. You got to pay for that. There's just all kind of fees that you got, right? You got to get your passport, and that's a remedy right there. But you got to fill it out the form the right way. And whatever I said on any other video about you having to give them the social security number, okay, that's true if you have one. But if you don't have one, you don't have to give one. Right now, I have one. You have one. Everybody has one. By the way, that social security number tells you can't be a U.S. person also. That's a little contradictory. But anyway, that's your trust account, and there's a whole thing with that, and I'm not going to get into it again. But the idea is there's money there, and you can get it out, especially those of you that have paid, like I did for years and years, paid into that Social Security Trust Fund until one day I realized, oh, wait a minute, I don't owe this tax. That was over 25 years ago. Wait, no, wrong one. Let's not get crazy. 24 years ago when I started figuring that out. Last time I ever dealt with these guys until today was 2001. Anyway, and I'm sure they chuckled because I know they pulled my record and they just went, oh, that guy. Anyway, so long story short, they ain't public officers. It's not a de jure government. It's a de facto government. It's a corporation that has a charter that looks like the Constitution, but it's not our Constitution. Further, that charter, all that does is secure the rights you already have. It doesn't give you any rights. You ain't got no constitutional rights. God damn it. Are you a party to that fucking document? No, you're not. They are. Right? So that's why you want to see the prosecutor's oath of office, because he swore to uphold the Constitution. You want to see the judge's oath of office because they're supposed to swear to uphold the Constitution. Whoever's in that courtroom, the bailiff, the clerk, anybody, they're supposed to be public officers that have oaths of office where they swear to uphold the Constitution. All right, if they don't have that, they should at least have pocket commissions or something that shows that they work for that corporation and they have a office license number, because it would otherwise be illegal. They have... Anyway, they have W-9s. You can ask for their W-9s. They won't give them to you, but you can ask. All right. Don't need them because guess what? They won't give them to you. You go around them directly to the IRS, and they will give you a letter like this, and then you can use this letter as prima facie evidence of the fact that they are not government entities. They are masquerade. They're alien. They're right. What is that? That's fraudulent disclosure. Fraudulent conveyance of language. Fraudulent concealment, failure to disclose. God, the list goes on and on. Impersonating a public officer, on and on and on and on and on, right? Malicious use of service. On and on. They don't have authority. So what the fuck are they doing serving you? Oh, because they think you live inside their district, right? And you're under maritime law. Their freaking flags show you. If the stripes go like this, that is the military flag. Doesn't matter if there's a gold ferns on it or not. That's the military flag. Our flag, the civilian flag, went like that. It hasn't flown since 1859. Right? In 1871, they made this new corporation to... All right, I'm excited. I need to calm down. All right. 1871, after the Civil War and all that stuff, they came up with these because the South said "fuck you guys" and took a walk. Right? They never came back. Okay, so we never had a quorum in our government. So there is no United States of America anymore. There is the United States, and that's why when you guys go into court and try to, they don't recognize court case. They don't recognize Dred Scott. That's from the United States of America. The United States. Dred Scott is not a United States court decision. Or excuse me, it is well, there you go. It is not a United States court decision. I was correct in what I said. It's United States of America, the Supreme Court ruled. All right, but anything before 1871, they ain't looking at that because they're 1871 forward. Because you're in their court that they pretend to be public entities. All right, so it's 18, and you got to use the Constitution, those things that was written after that, because that's the Constitution that they're using. They're using the second charter. There's two constitutions. There's one for and one of. You need to know the difference. How many freaking times have I made a video that says you got to know what the words mean, right? And the difference between in and on, huge difference. The difference between of and for, huge difference. All right, so The original one, the one that we like, the one that we're fooled into thinking that we're a part of, that was the original Constitution made by those crazy founding fathers, and it boils down to banking law. It boils down to bonds and understanding contracts. So, if you like, I'll in the comments or someplace I'll put what is it? What is it? Contracts for Dummies or something like that. Anyway, that one of them dummy books where it's like contract law for dummies. Anyway, but you need to understand contract law, right? You guys that are studying case law and studying statutes, dude, there's millions of statutes across 50 states, and the districts cooperate with each other. So that's why in a lot of, depending on certain things, unless they have a statute that says that, a person from like up in the Northwest, just because you're got a license to carry concealed in Washington State doesn't mean you can carry it in Idaho, doesn't mean you can carry it in Montana. All right, but overall, there's other things where if you're married in Idaho, Washington State will recognize that marriage, and so will Montana, and so will California, and so forth. All right. So the point being is that there are way, way too many statutes for you to understand. So you need to understand contract law and understand that it's all about contracts. Okay. There needs to be two parties, and both parties need to agree. If it was the government over you and you had decided, yes, I'm an American, or I'm a U.S. person and so on, well, that's one thing, but you didn't. So you need to have a contract. So I went to court and I asked them for a contract. They wouldn't give me one. They didn't do it. And then the best part, when I went to the judge and I just said, because like I said, I didn't want the person next to me to know, but she's too ignorant to even fucking know any of this. She actually said he's using big words in court out loud. Anyway, non-assumpsit and stuff like that. What does that mean? Usufruct. What does that mean? Anyway, non-tax exempt government entity. What does that mean? That means they're fucked. That's what that means. Oh, just wait. You just wait, right? They want to dishonor me in court and act like, right? Because I come in looking like this, right? I don't clean up for court. Anyway, so they think I'm just some slovenly dork that doesn't know what the hell they're, right? But they should see, they should know, right? But they don't recognize the symbols either. So fuck them is all I can say. And I am going to drag them through the mud, like through the mud. You have no idea. Because there's a lot of forms. And again, Honey Badger, he don't care. We love these guys because they don't give a fuck who you are, right? You can be a struggling mom with 4 kids. They don't care, right? You can be a congressman or a senator. They don't care, right? You can be CEO of $1 billion company. They don't give a fuck. You can be a criminal like Al Capone. They don't care. So sick the fucking dog that doesn't care and isn't scared on them, right? Because I guarantee you, they're scared to be on the wrong side of these guys, right? And then there's other people, the Universal Postal Service, right? Your postmaster is potent, but most of your postmasters are clueless, just like most of your sheriffs are clueless. So you got to go around them. So if you don't get satisfaction from your postmaster in 21 days, you can go to the Universal Postal System. Ooh. Right. There you have it. There's in fact, they actually said that to me in court. They actually said, yeah, we have no objection to your homeschooling. It's just the fact that the mother of your children is goading us to mess with you because she doesn't. Anyway. So anyway, I keep alluding to this and I haven't done it. So anyway, I looked at the judge directly in the face and I just said, all right, are you a tax exempt? Are you a tax exempt government entity? What? It looked like Ruta Ramon just walked across her grave. Because it got quiet. And her face lost a little color. I have to say, this is an Asian woman, and she got a little pale. And the clerk, because they communicate, I'm telling you, it's not right. The clerk goes tappity tap tap tap, and she looks down at the screen that isn't there, that you don't know about, and she says, "I'm not going to answer that." Well, I'm sorry, bitch. You're supposed to answer questions that are direct in the court. That's non-disclosure right there. And then there you go. Fraudulent concealment, fraudulent conveyance of language. Anyway, so she said, I'll tell she said. She said, I'm not going to answer that. And then they proceeded. Awesome. It's all on the record, right? We were on the record at the time. Okay, so they have no out because I'm going to go down there and get the transcripts. I'm going to send it off to some Asian people because you notice that they don't have a court reporter anymore? That's exactly for this, so that they have time to fuck around and figure out what they're going to do. All right? Because they used to have a court reporter and you could just pull up a document and you could point to it. And okay, well, now you have to go take the transcript, which is a recording, an audio recording, and get somebody to see this. Again, it's just money. They're just trying to extract wealth and make it so that it costs you money and time if you're going to do anything. So anyway, the multiple times they perjured them. They perjured themselves. Like I said, they just broke law because they think that the average person never complains. Nobody complains. Nobody ever, right? They always break their oath of office, but nobody ever holds them to their oath of office because they got all the guns and clubs and we don't have all the guns and clubs. Right? They have the sheriffs. They have all the people that are in the court, the bailiffs, and all these other people that have guns and so on and so forth. Right? Here's the thing, though. IRS don't care. Same thing. U.S. Marshals don't care. Right? You got to know who to complain to. You got to know who to talk to. Overall, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service, FBI, they're fucking useless. Don't even fool yourselves. Right? This whole charade that's going on in front of the media right now. Yeah, that's how they operate. Doesn't matter if your name is Donald Trump. Doesn't matter if you're some peon, right? 100th monkey, whoever you are. It doesn't matter, right? That they ain't doing nothing. These fuckers knew about the rape of children. Okay, straight up, they knew. They absolutely knew about the rape of children. If I knew, they knew. Right? I have female friends who will not speak for many reasons, but because why bother? You people wouldn't believe them anyway. Where they were used to pay debts when they were children, when they were under 5. I have a friend that her earliest memory is being violated. But like her dad, her own father, used her to pay off debts. I know several, and these were men who procured, and they used their own children, and they would grab yours, no problem, and get money for it, and then they raped them until they die. And then they hacked out their organs to get the most money possible out of that corpse. And then the body is cremated, ground up, and turned into cement. And then the cement is used to pave various highways in the United States. And they laugh at us and laugh at us. We drive on the bones of our children. Right? Check it out. Is that guy crazy? Check it out. There's a fucking patent for it. Right? A few years ago, if I would have told you this, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy, that's too much. I can't do that." Right? It's too much for you to understand. All right, but now it's out there. The information's out. You guys are waking up. Everybody's waking up. Yay, at last. I'm not the only fucking one. Right? There are thousands of people that have gone before that have figured this part of it out. Okay, so what? Now you need to change your status from slave to man on land, part of the United States of America. Right? A civilian, not a sovereign. Right? Sovereignty lies in all of us, right? You and the 4 people watching, or me and the 4 people watching, and you make over there. Okay, all of us, we're sovereign, right? But no one of us is sovereign, right? The sovereignty lies in the people, right? And the 10th Amendment, 9th and 10th tells you whatever is not in this document is reserved to us or to the states, respectively, right? But they don't give us any rights. You had those. You know who gave you the rights? God gave you the rights. Now, what have they done? They've made it so you don't study the Bible. Right? You check the user agreement, but you don't know what's in that book. Just because it's in every courtroom in the United States, is in every courtroom in Canada. There is a Spanish version in courtrooms in Mexico and all over South America, the Spanish Bible. There is in New Zealand, in Australia. You go across the Iron Curtain or that imaginary curtain on the other side, and it's the Orthodox Bible. Every fucking courtroom has a Bible in it. In the West, you go further, and it's the Quran. But every courtroom has a Bible in it. You should fucking know what's in there, right? Banking, right? Banking instruments, banking law, equity. That's the cipher. I can be in trouble now. But it's in every courtroom. Okay, if you can't stand and you can't. Right? You ever see that one vampire movie? It's a great movie where the guy is just scared and he holds up the cross to the vampire and the vampire just looks at it. You have to believe it. You have to know it and you have to believe it. Right? And again, doesn't fucking matter if you believe it or not. They do. These people are insanely. It's the equestrian order of the Holy Sepulchre. These people are insane religious fanatics. Make no mistake. So what you need to do, and again, they got all the guns and clubs. So you keep your head down, stand on your square, get your paperwork in order, change your status, and mostly they'll just leave you alone, right? But if you start kicking them in the teeth, they'll collect your bonds by killing you. But the idea is, it's too troublesome to kill little puds like you and me, because it costs too much money. Because you got to pay somebody to write the death certificate, suicide or whatever, and you got to pay somebody to cover it up. It costs too much money. Bottom line. But you're worth more dead to them than alive by far already, right? I'm old enough now. I'm about to have a birthday where all my bonds are mature. So they kill me. No, but see, now my son can claim my bonds, right? Both my sons. I'll teach them how to claim my bonds. But those bonds were issued fraudulently in the first place. But anyway, the idea is, because mom didn't know, your mom didn't know. When she signed that birth certificate, she had no idea what the fuck she was doing. She thought it was like making sure that they, giving notice to the world that you were born. Yay, everybody's so pretty, proud. That's not what it was about. What it was about was the bankers getting your mother to pledge you, right? You are pledged. They own you. Not in no uncertain terms, you have been trafficked. Right? No, you haven't been trafficked where they were sticking cocks up your ass and stuff like that, but you have been trafficked where they were making bonds for you. And all kind of sureties and all kind of stuff that you don't understand and didn't know even existed. But just because that you don't know it doesn't, or just because you don't know it exists doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There are 411 bonds on me that I'm going to collapse. The Danes got bonds, right? They bought them, right? All the banks, they trade in us. They trade us. It just right? And they hope you fuck up, because if you fuck up, you got to pay them more bonds, right? What do you get? You bail bonds. They've turned everything, right? You hurt somebody else and they make money. Right? You rape, you pillage, you murder, bonds. And then they'll put you in a camp and you can do labor, right? Because here's what they figured out. They figured out you put chains on those little bastards and they want to break their chains and get away. You put them in a cage and they try to get out of the cage. So they made big cages. They call them nation states, right? I traveled this nation 3 years. I barely scratched the surface. And I traveled 3 cities a week for years, went all over this country. There's a city with 20,000 people in it. I have been there. And actually not anymore, because in the last 20 years, there are plenty of cities that were too small when I was traveling. And now they're 20,000 or more, because this nation has done nothing but grow. But it is a hell of a country from Maui to Maine. It is right? And we're all Americans. We all have these crazy ideas about freedom of speech and being able to defend ourselves and being left alone. I mean, just insane ideas that other countries, they can't even conceive of it. Right? We don't hold allegiance to any fucking king. Right? We consider ourselves free men. It's a lie, but we consider ourselves free men. But you can set yourself free. You can. You need the Bible to do it, though. And you can be a fanatical Christian, whatever. But you need to know what's in the book. You need to know what's in that thing. So you need to know the banking instruments and the banking law, because what the Yeshua was doing, what the Jesus was doing, he was redeeming you away from. It's the same fucking guys, right? The same money system has been in place forever. It's the same guys, and we never fucking catch on. And as soon as a lot of us do catch on, ooh, famine, ooh, right? One of those 4 horsemen is going to show up. Ooh, pestilence, right? The coronavirus, my ass. Don't even worry about coronavirus. But it's not like it's not a thing, because it is a thing. But the chances of you getting the coronavirus, probably pretty high. The chances of it killing you, pretty fucking slim, unless you're just sad. And there's all manner of stuff you can do. Find out about 2.5 water from Conga machines. Find out about this stuff right here. I mean, the coronavirus is the last thing on my mind. But it's very interesting to watch the whole thing and understand that that has to do with the corona of the 5G and the fact that they... all right. I'm going to go down that path. But this is huge. This is huge, right? Get yourself the forms. And like I said, there's paperwork to be done. And then once you get this paperwork, you can bite back. Pen mightier than sword. They got all the guns and clubs, but if you got a pen and some knowledge, understand right here. Oh, the Glosser channel, those Aussies, right? God bless those boys down there. Anyway, it's grammar fair. It's word fair. It's law fair. All right. So you got to know what the words mean, and you got to understand the grammar, right? You just assume that Schmo Joe and Joe Schmo are the same thing. No, it's not, right? What is it? Fred Rogers and Rogers Fred. You think it's the same because in your mind, but it's not. One is a and then it absolutely depends on whether it's in capital letters or in title case. Absolutely. One is a corporation that you're authorized to represent, and one is your actual person. And so you need to know the difference between a signature and an autograph. Signature is the land of shadow. And see, I'm coming out of the land of shadow. I've been in the land of shadow with you guys forever, and I'm now going to step out of the land of shadow because the only way to get after some of these people is to step out and have the similar status to them and sue them person to person, man to man, right? Or man to woman. All right. So if you're going to sue person to person, I'm talking about corporations, and you have to have your EIN and all that other stuff. And you got to get your numbers together, and you got to have your all caps name, and you got to own that. And you got to on and on and on and on. And you can sue them in their world, or you got to go the other way, and you got to come out and pull them out of the shadows and be a man and sue them that way. All right. But they're not going to have diplomatic immunity. But anyway, let's not lose this. Let's put this where I won't lose it right there. Let's put that where I won't lose it. All right. So let's talk about the coronaviruses briefly, just for a moment. All right. So coronavirus. All right. Viruses in general, just understand that you have heavy metals in your body. You do. If you've been in a car today, I drove all around, I was breathing exhaust. There's heavy metals in me. I will detox them naturally. All right. But those heavy metals, that will be the structure that the virus uses, and they will make a mucous membrane or even sometimes a calcium membrane. In the case of certain herpes and so forth, and chickenpox and so on. But anyway, they use that particle for structure. Okay, and this is a metallic particle. This is a heavy metal. All right, now you've got 5G. 5G is wavelength you can't see. And again, see, they figured out that if you can see it, if you can taste it, if you can feel it, if you can hear it, this sets you off. There's Wi-Fi going through my body, right? I don't even notice. Right? Through this machine, through the routers and so forth. Okay, 5G, you'll notice. All right, so anyway, that 5G hits this metallic particle, and it heats up. So the virus that's living in this membrane that has used it for structure, or perhaps viruses, might be one, might be more, depends on how symbiotic they are, that heats up and it starts to kill them. All right, oops. Well, now they know that they're under attack. What do? They start breeding at a 600% higher rate than they normally would because they're worried about dying, so they start reproduction immediately. So now they go into that. Okay, so now one of these viruses comes out, finds another piece of heavy metal, and builds a structure around that, and that thing heats up, and now you've got 600%, and then just do the math. It's a exponential function that looks like that. So once you get around here, your immune system cannot keep up and you die. And now you're laying on the street coughing up blood. But for most people, it stays down here because it never gets to the power curve because your immune system cuts it off before it can hit the power curve. All right, but when they start bombarding that stuff with 5G, your immune system won't be able to keep up. So if you already have virus, and we all have viruses in us all the time that in various stages, right? You've all got cancer tissue in you, right? There's cells that have gotten crazy and have decided to just reproduce and never shut off. But your immune system keeps track of that too and takes care of it, right? But what you need to do is understand that this right here, you want to stop that power curve. Is the bottom line. Okay, so and that's easy to do. You've got black seed oil, you've got silver, you've got 2.5 water from Kangen. You've got anyway. If you got a healthy immune system, you got herbs and echinacea and garlic and all that kind of stuff. You're going to be okay. All right, but because like I said, the death rate here, because so many people got it. There's going to be it's a bell curve. Again, mathematics. Oh, God, it drives the most horrible thing. All right, there you go. So down here on the belt, these guys die. The grand majority of people, over here. It's something crazy, like 98%. You ain't dying. I mean, you might get a cold, you might get sick, and so on, but it's not going to kill you. But I went to Costco today, and there's no toilet paper in Costco. It just blew my mind, right? And I actually need toilet paper. I mean, I'm down to 2 packs, so I was going to go buy another thing of toilet paper done. Couldn't get it because there isn't any. Sold out. People go down and buy. Really, toilet paper is going to protect you from the coronavirus? I mean, people are just ridiculous. Anyhow, the point being is that they're using that as a test. Let's put it that way, because go look at the Georgia Guidestones. They only want 500 million of us. Right? So a very small number compared to 7 billion, or we're going on 8 billion, 7.5 billion, whatever it is. And most of that 500 million would be servile to that elite. And then they control us easily. And again, who's going to control us? We are, right? But when you got 7 billion of us running around, it's starting to get a little unwieldy for them. And the monkeys are starting to figure out the fact that we don't have a secure government. We just think we do. Okay, Crime Stoppers, you need to get your paperwork together, because we need to make an army, and we need to go after these guys, right? They sacrifice children. They rape children. They traffic humans. They need to be stopped. They aren't going to stop just because it's a naughty thing to do or because of the Jesus or whatever. They are going to stop when enough of us stand up and say, stop it. And one of the ways to do that, and again, pen mightier than sword. But the bottom line, my friends, is you need to get your paperwork in order. So one of the first things to do with your paperwork, and this is easy, this is how you're going to convert your friends too, because most of your friends are going to, this is crazy conspiracy theory, that guy's fucking crazy, you don't know what he's talking about, right? I'm going to go vote for Bernie and, socialism, yay. You're going to take this, and look, if you want one, send me a private message. I don't know how we communicate, but seeing they make it hard for us to communicate because everybody's paranoid and so on and so forth. And, any women to get on here and try to say stuff that's smart, the men get crazy and hassle them to the point where they don't want it. Anyway, I got 1,000 envelopes, 1,000 of them. I'm thinking I'm going to take them down to a printer and have them just print this on there because I don't feel like writing it over and over again. And then you're going to put a 3-cent stamp on there. And then you're going to put their address on there with no zip code, and maybe their universal area code if they have one, which they probably don't. Yours over here with no zip code, no abbreviations. You may not use HI. You have to spell it out, Hawaii or Idaho or California, not just CA, because that's inside the district. All right. And then in here, for 3 cents, you can put 1 sheet. For 6 cents, or you can put 2 3-cent stamps on there, and you can put a couple more sheets because it works out to be, what is it? I can't remember the mail rate, and I don't have it here, but it works out to like 3 cents an ounce, I believe. So it's basically, you can't put very many pieces of paper in there, but just put 1 or 2 pieces of paper in there with some information for them to look up, with the actual statutes that talk about the 3-cent stamp. And, hey, nice to see you, or, haven't talked to you for a while. Here's a letter. Hope you're doing well. This information is important. We need to get together and talk about some of this stuff. Or you need to do the research for yourself, depending on who it is you're talking to. And you need to start waking up your friends and family. The way to lead is by example. So again, I haven't got all my paperwork in order, right? I haven't got the passport that I want. I haven't got there's a lot of documents I need. And you still got to, right? And don't let it be overwhelming. Every week, right? I rescinded my voter registration. I did this. I did that. I'm getting this in order. I wrote this letter and got a response. I did this. I did that. I wrote myself some letters and got, I don't have those either, but I've showed them in other videos, the 3-cent stamps to myself. That shows that I'm not inside their district. And on and on and on. There's just paperwork. And then what you need to do is get yourself a 3-ring binder, actually 2 3-ring binders. And because you want to make a copy, redundancy is important. What if you lose the one? You got to have the other one in the backup. So that as a backup, you're going to put all these notarized documents and certified copies and so forth of everything that you've done. And then you're going to have all your paperwork in one place, right? So that if you need to go to court or if you're, you just have all that stuff that you need. You need a letter from the Department of Defense that says you're not a seaman or a military man or a member, an active duty member, and so forth, so that you can absolutely rebut the presumption that they have any kind of authority over you. Because if you're a seaman, they actually have some interesting authority, right? And you volunteered for that. If you're a seaman, you volunteered to be a Navy man. You volunteered to be a Marine right? Okay. But if you didn't volunteer and you're not part of it, then you need a document that says you're not, because otherwise this is your word against theirs, right? Prima facie evidence and facts, right? Justice is fucking blind. I made a whole video about that. You're not getting justice out of that system, but justice is blind. All right, so this is the other thing. This has been going on for 150 fucking years since the Civil War. Ain't nobody done anything about it because, for the most part, nobody complains. Nobody even asks if they have a oath of office. Nobody asks to see their licenses. Nobody asks to see their W-9s. Nobody asks a simple question. You just assume that they're a public entity or that they are a legitimate government agency. But you never ask. I asked. Turns out not. All right, now what? Well, now you got to complain. And do you think that the IRS didn't know this? Yes, they knew this, but nobody asked. Do you think I don't know, let's go with Secret Service. Do you think they didn't? Do you think that I'm the first guy ever in the history of the country to do this? Or do they just look the other way until somebody tugs on their shirt? And even then, they're going to keep tugging on their shirt, because I know for a fact that thousands of people knew about the trafficking and complained, and they looked the other way. They had Wiener's laptop, which has unspeakable things on it. Didn't do anything about it. And everybody that looked at it and kept their fucking mouth shut, they're all, I think, 12 out of 15 are dead now. Because FBI didn't do anything. Secret Service didn't do anything. Right? United States Marshals didn't do anything. Right? These men don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about a paycheck, and they'll do what they have to do if you put it in their face. Nothing more. Not 1 inch more. Right? You people need to wake the fuck up. You want men and women in office that are going to be having your best interest in mind? Well, they can't be U.S. persons. Right? This self-governance thing that we're supposed to be having here, it has failed miserably. Because we're not self-governing. We let other people govern us. And now we see what those other people are. They are horrifying, demon-worshipping idiots. And they worship evil. And they laugh at us because we don't believe it. Because if you tell your friends that satanic pedophiles are running the show, your friends will call you crazy. And they should, because it should be crazy that there are satanic pedophiles running the fucking show. But that's who's running the fucking show. All right. And they have an interesting code of ethics. The idea is they give you notice. They do nothing it's all in plain sight. They tell you in that book, Yahshua tells you, the Christ Jesus tells you, if you ask, you shall receive. Knock, and the door shall be opened. But none of you ask, and none of you knock. None of you even complain. They rape children. You still don't complain. You read that stuff and, I think I'll make a meme and post it or something, right? But you don't actually. Anyway, so the idea is there's stuff to be done. And yeah, it's dangerous because, these guys are demon-worshipping freaks, and killing somebody that gets a little too uppity is no issue for them. That poor girl that went down to, now I can't remember her name. Wow, that's wrong. Okay, I can't remember her name. Anyway, she went down to Haiti. They killed her because she was on the trail and she knew who to look, and she didn't think, somehow she thought she was going to be immune, and they killed her. Other people have gone to Israel and Palestine, killed them too. Other people have made, Seth Rich just saying, wait a minute, these guys, they're rigging this election. People should know about this. You see what happened to Seth Rich? Right? That name I remember. But I mean, there are so many more names than Seth Rich. Right? I mean, the Clinton kill list is huge. But if you think the Clintons are the only one on the kill list, then I mean, they'll kill anybody. They'll kill ambassadors. They set our ambassador up in Libya. Who cares? And they came up with a great cover story, and so far, so good. Because they got bonds and they just wrote off the bonds. But these people are insane, demon-worshipping idiots. Like I said, it's a construct, but doesn't matter if you believe it, they believe it. Right? Again, they will sacrifice their I can't even conceive of it, but they will sacrifice. And see, that's how they get away with it. They will sacrifice their firstborn. That's how much religious fanaticism runs through their ranks. Right? And this is the thing. This is how they get away with it, is that we can't conceive of it. The average person can't conceive of the evil that these people do. You would never do, you wouldn't even think of doing some of the things that these people do to children. It wouldn't even cry. I mean, and even when you can't believe it when you're exposed to it. Right? That's the cognitive dissonance that comes up. I have the same. See, here's a book you want to get. Get Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's On Death and Dying. Right? It teaches you how to grieve. And what you're going to grieve for is your innocence, because you're about to lose this is so much worse than there's no Santa Claus. And these people exist. They have been existing for centuries. They have been running the show for centuries. They laugh at us constantly because we're so fucking ignorant. Right? And what's the anagram for ignorant? Nigger. What's the anagram for those of us that pay the mortgage twice and those of us that pay back loans when we actually created the money with our own signature? Pagans. Because you don't understand what's in that book. And now they've got you to the point where you don't want to read the book. Right? Oh, that's passé. A lot of Christians won't even read the book. Right? They just check the user agreement. I'm a Christian. You have no fucking idea what's in that book. What's Ruth got to do with it? What's Isaiah got to do with it? Right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Really? Because Amir and and so on were busy that day, so he can only find Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the middle of the Middle East back then. No, these are stories that are designed to help you run your life and get out from underneath, get out of the horror of Babylon. Because these are the ones, as I've made other videos, I've told you about this. These are the same fucking people that have trafficked in slaves. It's maritime. It's all the maritime motif, vessels and documents, right? Docking and birthing and all of that. Yes, it's a maritime motif because these people were tradesmen. And one of the things that they traded in, the book tells you, the Bible talks all about it, slaving. But I mean, every other book will tell you in history, the Romans had slaves, the Egyptians had slaves, they all had slaves. So they had to number those slaves. Well, they don't number us anymore. There's no brands on my body. It's all up here. It's all imaginary. It's a social security number. It's this number. It's that number. Those are your brands. Right? And again, they won't put you in a cage. Because if they put you in a cage, you'll try to get away. All right, so what you need to do is begin to do your research, and you begin to one of the first things you need to do is I don't have one handy, is get yourself a law dictionary, Bouvier's and Black's, and start learning what the fucking words mean, because the words don't mean what you think they mean. Person doesn't mean man, right? A man in his home on the land is not the same thing as a person in residence. It's just not. You think it means the same, but it doesn't mean the same. And then you need to understand registration, and you need to understand what the words mean. And once you can understand what the words mean, you are going to find out very quickly that, I should read some of these, very quickly that they're not joking around, right? The words mean what they mean, and if you pledge yourself or if you sign certain documents, then you're party to those contracts. Yeah, there you go. Yep, there you have it. Okay, I've gone on for almost an hour. Let's make it an even hour. But the idea is that you need to know what the words mean. There is paperwork to be done. You need to start getting the paper. And a lot of this paperwork can be done in 5-6 days. Right? You can start sending yourself letters. You can start doing stuff that starts removing their presumptions. Right? And, traffic tickets, that's the least of your fucking problems. And there's huge rewards in doing this, by the way. I'm not going to get into that part of it. But like I said, there's paperwork to be done. It sets you free. It allows you to do, right? It allows you to stop them from extracting wealth from you. I haven't, it's coming up to March now. Soon it will be April, and most of you guys are going to be sweating on paying your taxes. I haven't filled out a form for these jokers since 2001 was the last time. And the last time I filled out a form was to get money back. Once I figured out, I don't owe this tax, right? So again, pay the taxes you owe. Make no mistake, pay the taxes you owe, because there are certain taxes that are unavoidable, and those are paid by stamp, by the way. So I have it didn't come. I have a book on stamp taxes and so forth, and how to use stamps. And because you need to know about stamps, and you need to know about numbers, 3s and 7s and 13s and all this fun stuff. But the idea is, once you start getting your paperwork in order, they can't extract wealth from you anymore. They can't take money from you when it comes to, I mean, really, how about you just keep a third of your damn income? Because most of you are paying at least 33% between state and federal taxes, depending on what state you live in. How about you don't pay registration fees for your car anymore because you don't need to register it? Just like a farm tractor on the road, you don't need to do that anymore. And now they can't even write you a ticket because you have no contract. And on and on and on and on. How about just quit feeding the fucking beast? But in order to stop feeding the beast, you got to know what paperwork to fill out. Go watch Brazil. Go watch Pirates of the Caribbean. Because there ain't no fucking money, folks. There is no money. Once you understand the concept that this is a true statement, there is no money. There's only debits and credits. You start figuring out how to write credits. Like I said, you need to get contract law for dummies or contract. Yeah, I'll put it in the comments, or I'll put it in underneath the video or someplace. Anyway, I'll put a link to that you can download. But that's a place to start. You need to understand about 3-cent stamps. You need to watch my playlist. Go to my channel and start watching some of those playlists. There's hours and hours of information there. Now, here's the thing. Some of that information is contradictory, and some of it is outright fucking wrong. I put it all there with the hope that you'll understand the difference between what's right and what's wrong, right? But there's no place for me to put notes and so forth. And even some of the videos I've made, like I said, you can get a passport and fill that thing out without having a social security number, right, on it. But you have to not have a social security number, and there's paperwork to be done so you can get to that point. There's paperwork to be done. There's paperwork to be done. There's paperwork to be done. Simple as that. Because they ain't letting you off the plantation free, slave. You got to pay them if you want off the plantation. Simple as that. So you got to know what paperwork. See, and this is the other thing. Once you figure out the forms, you have a fucking idea how hard it was to find this form. I mean, it's there in plain view, but I mean, look, it's 4605A. I mean, that's 4,506 forms later, right? Because there's 1040, there's all the, anyway, you got to know what forms. And then you got to know who to send them to, right? You can't just fill out the form and then now what do you do with it, right? Now that I have this letter, well, what do I do with this letter? Well, I make copies of it and I send it to various places and say, well, along with other forms, and they're forms. I mean, they're actual fillable forms. It's not letters. It's not affidavits I'm filling out. It's actual forms that I'll be attaching this to that shows prima facie, oh, by the way, these guys aren't government. And oh, by the way, these guys aren't tax exempt. Oh, but they're doing all kinds of naughty stuff that you need to investigate. And, various other agencies, right? They talk about the different forms that the FBI was using when it came to the FISA courts. And they talk about the different forms that the FBI used when they were taking notes about Trump and so on and so forth. All right. Every fucking agency has forms. You got to fill out the right form. All right. Otherwise, justice is blind. They can't see it if it's not on the form. So you got to know what form, and then you got to know what to say, and then you got to know who to say it to, is the bottom line. And they keep that stuff, they obfuscate that as much as possible to keep you peons from fucking ever rising up. Simple as that. Okay, my friends, e pluribus unum. United, we beat this thing. Divided, we fall. You've got your Bernie Sanders supporting idiot friends. Fine, they're socialists. They're just deceived, right? Feel sorry for them, but no less deceived than the people that make no mistake. Let me preface that Trump is the enemy of our enemy. He is, in fact, the enemy of our enemy. But that don't make him your friend. Because what is he trying to do? He's trying to get you to sign up and vote, get your voter registration. That makes you a U.S. person. Now you are, in fact, under the control of the judiciary for the state of Louisiana, or the judiciary for the state of California, or the judiciary for, right? Oh, and look up style of process. Find out what style of process is and look up what it is for your state. I mean, all these little things you have to know. And see, if you want to be ignorant and free, fuck you. You can't be ignorant and free. Sorry, right? Another way to put it, look up Hosea 4:6, right? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's how they destroy you, because you have a lack of knowledge, right? Your ignorance is how they get you, right? But if you want to be ignorant and free, you want what has never been and never will be. So educate yourself. Then you can educate others. And most others won't even, right? So just lead by example. Einstein tells us example isn't a way to teach. It's the only way to teach. And we walk out of this, right? But make no mistake, they're going to try and scare you back onto the plantation, right? They're not going to just go, okay, right? Okay, here, have a good time. No, they're going to do everything they can because they want to extract wealth from you, because they don't have the ability apparently to create. We create and they parasite, right? They tax, they license, they fee. All right. So what you want to do is stop paying the taxes, stop paying the licenses, stop paying the fees. Okay, but you can't just stop, because if you've been paying them all this time and then you suddenly stop, they're going to say, excuse me, why did you stop? And don't you owe us this? And here's some guys with guns at your door saying you didn't pay your tax, and that's naughty. But if you can tell them why, and if you have the forms and you have your documents in order, all right. Take it easy, Crime Stoppers. E pluribus unum, and I'll talk to you soon.